Hairo was 16, a restless boy in the city of Arkanos, where towers of glass rose to the sky and machines hummed with endless energy. One night, while leaving school, he saw a strange glow in the courtyard. A massive stone gate, carved with ancient runes, stood where yesterday there was nothing. From its surface came a whisper, low and urgent. "You are the chosen one. Do not let the shadows awaken." Against his fear, he reached out. The gate flared, swallowing him in a burst of blue light. He fell, landing on shattered ground beneath the sky without stars, and realized he was no longer in his world. Out of the darkness came a girl with short silver hair and a blade on her back. "My name is Rin," she said, her eyes sharp yet kind. "If the shadows cross into your world, everything will end. That sword on your hip, draw it." Hairo looked down and gasped. Somehow, a blade of glowing blue light was in his hand, humming as if alive. He swung clumsily as a monstrous shadow beast charged, its form shifting like smoke with claws of steel. Terrified, he barely survived, saved only by Rin's precision strike, but the sword had reacted, shining brighter with his fear. She looked at him with a mixture of awe and worry. "You carry the blade of light, but unless you master it, it will consume you." Rin led Hairo through wastelands of ruins, until they reached a hut where an old man waited. His name was Kael, a sage who once fought the shadows himself. He explained that the sword was bound to Hairo's heart. It reflected his emotions, feeding on courage or drowning in fear. Training began at once. Kael pushed him through brutal exercises, demanding control of breath, will, and spirit. But when Kael asked him to channel calm while holding the blade, the weapon flared violently, throwing Hairo back unconscious. He woke to find new faces watching him. Lian, an archer quick as wind. Ken, a brawler with fists like stone. And Mira, a young water mage whose laugh softened even the bleakest nights. At first, they distrusted him, thinking the boy from another world was too weak. But as they traveled together, they fought side by side, and a fragile trust began to grow. Their bond was tested when a horde of shadows attacked them in a canyon. Outnumbered, they struggled until a masked warrior appeared, striking the beasts down with terrifying skill. His name was Zark. Zark's voice was calm, his movements flawless. He claimed he too had once trained under Kael. Though Rin distrusted him, Hairo felt drawn to his strength. One night, Zark pulled him aside. "The truth is, your sword hides secrets. It is more powerful than Kael admits. Follow me, and I'll show you." Hairo hesitated, but the next day Zark revealed his betrayal, stealing an ancient relic from Kael's chest and vanishing into the shadows. Enraged, the team gave chase across mountains and rivers, hunted by beasts that Zark had unleashed. Along the journey, Hairo grew stronger. He learned to breathe through fear, to let the blade move as an extension of his soul. Yet doubt still haunted him. When they finally found Zark at an ancient temple, he stood before a massive sealed gate, chanting words of darkness. Kael arrived too, weary but resolute, and revealed the truth. Zark had once been his brightest student until arrogance consumed him. The shadows promised him power, and he surrendered. As the seal cracked, Zark turned to Hairo. "You feel it, don't you? Fear, anger, loneliness. These are not weaknesses. They are strength. Embrace them and you'll never be powerless again." For a moment, Hairo almost believed him. The weight of expectation, the terror of failure, it seemed so heavy. But Rin's voice pulled him back. "Light is born when we face the dark, not when we surrender to it." With a roar, the gate shattered, and the Shadow King emerged. A colossal figure of endless black, its eyes burning crimson. Instantly, the balance shifted. Shadows poured into Arkanos, and the real world began to collapse. The team fought bravely, but were crushed. Ken was wounded, Mira's magic drained, Lian's bow shattered. Hairo's resolve broke, and he fell to his knees. In that lowest moment, Kael's words returned. "The blade is a mirror. Fill it with light, and the darkness cannot touch you. Something inside him changed. Instead of fear, he filled his heart with his friends' voices, their trust, their pain, their courage. The blade ignited in a radiant storm of azure. They rose together. Ken forced himself back into the fight. Mira summoned rivers of water with the last of her strength, and Lian crafted a makeshift bow from shadow fragments themselves. United, they pushed forward. Hairo confronted Zark in single combat. Every strike was desperate, fierce, until finally Hairo broke through the mask, revealing Zark's tormented eyes. In that instant, Hairo reached out instead of striking, pulling him from the darkness. Zark screamed, torn between shadow and light, but finally collapsed, freed. With his last strength, Zark whispered, "End it, together." Side by side, Hairo and his allies struck at the Shadow King. Light burst outward, flooding the battlefield, shredding the void until silence fell. The gate crumbled, the shadows vanished, and Arkanos was safe once more. Exhausted, they awoke back in Hairo's world, the courtyard quiet under a rising sun. The stone gate was gone, leaving only cracked earth. Hairo stood with Rin, Lian, Ken, Mira, and even Zark, who now walked uncertainly in the dawnlight. He looked down at the blade of light. Its glow was faint, almost sleeping, yet it pulsed as if alive. Hairo smiled for the first time in days. "The shadows are gone," he whispered. Rin placed a hand on his shoulder. "For now." They laughed softly together, the morning air fresh and hopeful. Above them, unseen, a single wisp of shadow drifted across the sky before fading away, as though reminding them that the story was not truly over. And so the tale of the boy, the blade, and the shadows of Arkanos ended with light, but also with a promise one day darkness might return, and if it did, Hairo and his friends would be ready. Days passed after the battle, but peace felt fragile. In the city of Arkanos, strange disturbances returned. Whispers in the alleys, people waking from nightmares with marks of shadow on their skin. Hairo knew the war was not over. Zark, now free from the curse, struggled with guilt. He avoided the group, ashamed of the destruction he had caused. Rin tried to reassure him, yet his silence deepened. One evening, while the team trained, Kael revealed another truth. The Shadow King they defeated was not the origin, it was only a vessel. Somewhere in the deepest void existed the heart of shadows, a core feeding darkness across worlds. If it was not destroyed, new kings would rise. Hairo felt both fear and determination. His sword pulsed as if it understood. The team agreed to set out again, but this time the journey would take them to the edge of existence itself. And so, under a red dusk, they prepared for a path no human had walked before. Their journey carried them into forgotten lands, deserts of black sand where time seemed frozen, forests where trees whispered in lost languages, and rivers that reflected not faces but memories. Each step challenged them, not with monsters but with illusions of their worst fears. Ken relived the night he lost his brother. Lian faced visions of her family turning away from her. Mira saw herself drowning in an endless sea. Even Rin faltered, haunted by a past she never spoke of. Hairo alone tried to hold them together, reminding them of their purpose. But the shadows worked harder on him, whispering, "You are not strong enough. You will fail them." His blade dimmed, flickering dangerously. Yet every time he almost gave in, he heard his friends call his name. Together, they crossed the illusions and reached a colossal black fortress, suspended above nothingness. The heart of shadows pulsed within. Their final test awaited. Inside the fortress, the air was heavy, every breath like poison. The heart of shadows beat like a living organ, its tendrils spread across the void. Zark stood before it, trembling. "This is my fault," he said. "Let me finish it." But before he could strike, the shadows rose, forming a guardian more terrifying than any before. It had no shape, shifting constantly, sometimes beast, sometimes human, sometimes mirror reflections of themselves. The fight was brutal. Mira collapsed after pouring all her magic to shield the team. Ken stood bloodied, but refused to fall. Lian shot arrow after arrow, breaking pieces of the Guardian but never destroying it. Hairo faced the creature's final form, a mirror of himself, wielding a black blade. Every strike was like fighting his own soul. He realized he was not battling a monster but the embodiment of his fear and doubt. If he could not accept himself, he would lose. The battle raged until Hairo dropped his sword, kneeling before his shadow. "You are part of me," he whispered, "but you will not control me." His acceptance shattered the illusion, and his blade of light blazed brighter than ever, infused with both courage and humility. With one united strike, the team pierced the heart of shadows. The fortress shook, collapsing into streams of light. The void itself dissolved, releasing a sky filled with stars for the first time in centuries. They awoke in Arkanos, alive but scarred, the stone gate now nothing but dust. Kael smiled proudly. Zark bowed his head in redemption, and the friends stood together at dawn. Hairo looked at the fading glow of his sword. "The shadows will return someday," he said, "but we will stand ready." Rin laughed softly. "Not just ready, we will stand together." And as the sun rose high, their story closed with hope, the city safe, the team united, and the promise that light would always rise against the dark.